for WCW that I think has an honorable mention at minimum would be DDP.
I love DDP. If I had a top
just
five,
because of how he
top
came
five.
on the scene.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's get off the scripted shit and let's move off to break so we can come back and roast B-word like a marshmallow. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Sometimes people have a story to tell. It could be a story of triumph or a story of sorrow. However, it's their story. It's important to keep their story authentic, in their own words, and delivered in a delicate way. That's where Unfiltered Discussions podcast comes in. I'm Brian Howard. I talk with my guests about tough subjects and pivotal moments. I'd love for you to hear their stories. Subscribe to Unfiltered Discussions on your favorite podcast platform. Let's ensure their stories are heard. Welcome back to the Raunchy Regret Podcast. This is B-Word, and it's time for me to get fucking roasted. It is time for me to feel like the marshmallow in the fire, for somebody to shove their fucking stick up my ass and hopefully slam me between two pieces of graham and a piece of chocolate. So with that, we're going to bring in this next segment, and here it is.
And now it's time for the Special Sports Corner.
When the fuck did we get ice cream?
All right, boys. Special Sports Corner. What do you got for me, Nomi?
Okay, so my special sports corner kicks off as this. Monday night, I'm like, we talked about it. We talked about it in the last episode because we recorded the day before the national championship. You guys all bandwagon onto me, you stupid sons of bitches. You caused what happened. You caused the downfall of Washington. However, I go to work. I work all day. I come home. I get home. I eat dinner. I have like an hour with my daughter. We eat dinner, get her in a bath, come out. She decides she wants to watch something, but watch it on her tablet. Perfect. I'm going to turn on the championship game. TV, dead. Would not turn on. Dead in the water.
Really?
And I'm like, okay, I'll try this again. Maybe it's the Roku. Unplug the Roku, plug it back in. Unplug the TV, plug it back in. No, TV was just straight dead, which I've had it for like 8 years. So I got to watch 0 seconds of the national championship game. I was so mad I didn't walk into the other room to watch it. Didn't pull it up on my phone to watch it because I was so pissed off that now once she went to bed, I had to go to the store and buy another TV and then mount that son of a bitch on the mount that my other TV was on. Hindsight, I went up an extra 10 inches, and so now I have a 65-inch TV, and I got to watch the Cowboys just get typical fucking Cowboys in the playoffs on a bigger screen, a 4K screen. All the while, like sitting here, like, God damn it! There's part of me that just feels bad, and there's part of me that doesn't. I'll tell you this, B-Word. You text Jake and I earlier today, and I didn't say anything because I didn't want to curse it. I had a $10 ticket on Dallas and Rams parlayed together money line. When they finally offered me 50 cents as a cash out, I took it. I'm like, let me get 50 cents back on this thing, you fucking Cowboys. I knew I shouldn't have fucking bet on you. I fucking knew it.
Yeah, my Cowboys ate a dick. They ate a dick on national TV, and that's just kind of how it was. And honestly, that's how it is. So I'm good with that. But before we get too far into the NFL, BZ, I want to throw this over to you. Okay. We all picked Washington to win over Michigan. And now, granted, that pick happened before the game came out when we recorded, but it was aired after the game was done. So now we have to eat crow a little bit, right? As far as like our predictions, because our very first prediction was ass.
I did hedge my bets a little bit by saying I think Michigan was probably going to win if they were able to pull it off, but Washington I wanted to win.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do recall that.
I listened to the podcast, so technically,
you absolutely did. You did. And when at the end, when we were like, we all picked Washington, I'm like, well, Michigan's winning. You said it as well, so we hedged our bet.
So we all put 10 toes in the ground, and I say we all, meaning the three of us, put 10 toes in the ground and said that Washington's going to win. But AJ McConnell just went on this fucking terrorist streak,
dude,
and beat the fuck out of George Washington. And I'm just curious for your pick. Like, did you see that coming? Was the Secret Service involved? Like, what exactly happened there?
I think what happened was somebody just put a whole bunch of fucking Sudafed in his Diet Coke and was like, this is going to be a really good cocktail to see what happens. And it just fucking methed him up, and it methed up the other guy, if you're talking with Mike Tyson. But yeah, just fuck George up. I was like, dude, you're sinking in the Delaware, bruh. Come on, man. I had money on you. I didn't really, but I thought about it. So I kind of had money on him. I had money on him. Oh, well, sometimes you just can't count on old George, huh? And that's why he's only on the $1 bill.
Sometimes you just can't do it. You're right. So, boys, going back into the NFL, we came up with, on this rundown, we're going to talk about predictions and really see how accurate we are going forward with the NFL. So that being the case, we've got a lot of teams are ready to go in this as far as the playoffs are concerned. We're recording on Sunday night. Actually, right now, as we record, the Detroit Lions are playing the LA Rams, and they're ahead by 1 point in the fourth quarter.
With the ball.
So this with the ball. So this very well could end with Detroit winning, and it very well could not end with Detroit winning. So as we go through this, I'm going to use a little playoff predictor here. So collectively, I want to determine who's going to win the games that we don't know that are finalized yet. So when it comes to the LA Rams and the Detroit Lions, Noam, who do you think is going to win that particular game?
I went with the Rams as of this morning. Like I said, I thought it was going to be a close game, but I figured the Rams would be able to edge out Detroit because Detroit has zero playoff experience, in my opinion, compared to the Rams. The first time they get to host a playoff game in 30 years, that's a big deal. And what a better way to shit the bed, and in Detroit style. So that's why I went with the Rams, and it could still happen. I like Detroit though. I would prefer Detroit to win the game, in all honesty. But I would say Rams.
So Rams. Okay. So then let's talk about tomorrow's game for your picks here too. So we've got the Eagles and the Bucks. Who do you think is going to win out of that game?
Man, it's such a toss-up because of injuries. I feel like I can't see Tampa Bay beating Philadelphia. I just can't see it happening.
Okay.
But if it's going to happen, it's because of the injuries and stuff. But I'm still going to go Philly.
So Philly. Okay. And then the other game that's happening tomorrow, we've got the Buffalo Bills are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be in the Snow Bowl. You think Buffalo all the way?
Buffalo.
Okay. So with all those picks, I want you to predict who the winners are going to be for your pick'em here. So let's go over to the Texans and the Ravens. So Texans are at the Ravens. It's number 4 seed versus number 1 seed. Are you going to be bold enough to pick against the Ravens in this pick?
Ravens. In a former podcast that I hosted on, I picked before the season started that the Ravens were my dark horse to win the Super Bowl. So it's Ravens on this one.
Okay. And then Chiefs at Buffalo, considering your pick for Buffalo to win.
Buffalo.
Okay. And then Green Bay at your 49ers. Who do you got there?
San Fran. We're going to show Dallas how it's done.
And then LA at Philadelphia.
LA.
So then, again, we go Bills at the Ravens.
Ravens.
And then LA at San Fran.
Rubber match. They finished 1-1 on the year, although the starters didn't really play the last one. I would go San Fran.
Okay. So your Super Bowl matchup in this case is going to be the Ravens at the 49ers. But before we get your Super Bowl pick in that stance, Beezy, let me throw these off to you. Do you agree with all of Noam's picks so far, or is there something that you'd want to change?
Pretty close. I think that Houston is actually riding the high horse, and there's a chance that they may actually knock off the Ravens. So that was about the only thing I would have changed from what Naomi was saying. Was I think the Texans are going to beat the Ravens.
Okay, so in that scenario, you have the Texans at the Bills. Who's the winner there?
Bills.
Okay, so your matchup would end up being the Bills at the 49ers. Now, AJ, which of these picks do you think, if any, you would want different from Nomi's picks? So again, we've got LA at Detroit right now. We've got the Eagles at Tampa Bay tomorrow, and we've got the Steelers at the Bills tomorrow. Do you think that the Bills, the Eagles, and the Rams would win that game? Would win those games?
Sure.
Okay.
So I would say real quick that if the Lions do keep the lead, I would still have the same exact scenario for the NFC where it would be the Lions versus the Niners in the final. I will throw that out there. Lions, Rams, to me,
Okay.
it doesn't matter. They both make it to the NFC title against the Niners. That's how I would view it, just so you're aware.
So AJ, with that, we've got the 49ers hosting your Green Bay Packers. It's not a Cowboys game, so I'm not certain how invested you're going to be in that one. But then we've also got the LA Rams versus the Eagles. Do you have any preferences on those two games?
No.
Okay. so
I will say this though. After seeing the game today, I'm hopeful that maybe they can pull something around, but not really holding my breath, and probably going to say the 49ers are probably going to move on. But
Okay.
I mean, you never know. Shit's wild
right.
these days.
Scripted like the WWE.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
for
almost
fuck's sake,
seriously,
dude.
yeah,
Jesus.
seriously. So with not changing much, you're also looking at a Bills 49ers matchup. I think really the only thing that I would change is I picked the Lions to go over the Rams. And I think that the Lions would end up beating the Eagles. And I do think that the 49ers are going to beat whoever that they go up against, which in this case would be the Packers. I do think that the Ravens will win over the Texans. And I do think that the Ravens will end up winning the AFC with the 49ers winning over the NFC.
Detroit just won.
Perfect. So that goes more toward me and also toward Nomi too, and also toward you, BZ, as well. So with that, who is your Super Bowl winner prediction? Let's go with you, BZ.
I don't even remember who I had. It was the Bills and
Niners.
49ers.
The Niners. Oh man, I really would like to see the Bills knock off the 49ers, because hadn't it been like 35 decades since they won
The Bills have never
the
won.
Super Bowl?
That's the
Well, yeah,
boy
pretty
I
close.
love
So, like,
losing
35
Super Bowls
decades.
acronym.
Yeah.
So the underdog story, I want the Bills to take it. And
All
if
right.
they beat the 49ers, man, that'd be great. So I'm gonna ride on the Bills.
So AJ, Bills or 49ers?
Real quick, did you say 35 decades?
Yeah.
Okay. So
technically I was correct.
when we were fighting for the declaration, someone out there was like, "We gotta win that Super Bowl." Shit.
That's when the Bills won.
Also,
And they still
tea in the
didn't.
harbor. Tea in the harbor.
So AJ, you got the 49ers or you got the Ravens?
I don't know. It depends. 49ers have shotguns and blow the birds out the sky. If
Yeah,
not, they pick
probably.
out their eyes. Oh, it's hard to pick. I'd say probably Ravens.
Ravens, okay. And Nomi, you going with your 49ers?
No, Ravens. I think it might be a little bit more lower scoring than the last time they played, and I would say Ravens 21, San Fran 20. I think the problem for the Niners is, as good as Kyle Shanahan is at schemes, Harbaugh's a phenomenal coach, and that team is a very good defensive team. Like I would say, I would hope the Niners win because that's my team. But I just, from the beginning of the year, as stated before, which I could pull up my receipts somehow in one of those episodes, I did say the Ravens were my dark horse to win the Super Bowl. So,
like you, on a previous show that I used to host on, I said that the 49ers would go to the Super Bowl and that they would win the Super Bowl. So I am going to pick the 49ers, as much as that pains me. But with that, boys, we got a pretty exciting next segment that I don't know if we're going to be able to rein it in. So let's check that out here real quick.
Urban Regret, the commercials.
I've got to be honest with you guys. I don't know if I can do this without going first, because I just don't know if I'm going to be able to hold it together. So if you guys are okay with it, I'm going to go ahead and go first. If you're not, I mean, I'll definitely bow out.
Sure.
But this is This is an idea that I came up with, and I'm actually scared to reveal it. It is the Urban Dictionary commercials. Basically, for our audience, we went to Urban Dictionary and we found a definition, and we're going to sell